Okay, I hope you've enjoyed the morning session and the keynote. It was very informative. Please. So I would like to invite my first panelist. We've got a group of distinguished panelists today to talk about regional case studies. And first, I would like to invite Dr. Anna Walek from Sorbonne, Abu Dhabi, to join us and start the presentation. Thank you very much, Dr. Anna.
Good morning, everyone, here in the room and online. Thank you for joining us for this session. I would like to present the topic of open science as a pillar of the university strategy, as an example of Sorbonne University, Abu Dhabi. And first of all, I would like to introduce you to the university, to the Sorbonne University, Abu Dhabi. We were established in 2006 as the result of agreement between the Sorbonne University in Paris and the government of Abu Dhabi. And Sorbonne University Abu Dhabi offers the best of international higher education based on French education. And both our fellow universities in Paris, Sorbonne University and Université Paris-Cité, were signatories of the agreement to establish the Abu Dhabi campus and to provide specialized academic programs. We have around 80 permanent faculty and around 1,500 students. But also we have around 300 visiting professors, mostly from France. The scientific output of the university is reported to the Ministry of Education in UAE. Through the Central Higher Education Data Store. Okay, doesn't work. Okay, now, sorry. So the scientific output of the university is reported to the UAE Ministry of Education via CHETS, which means a Central Higher Education Data Store. And the UAE National Higher Education Strategy has 4 pillars. The most important pillar is research and innovation. UAE has a key focus on research and innovation in order to remain internationally competitive in the knowledge-based economy. And SUAT's goal is to be the part of this vision. Research at Sorbonne Abu Dhabi is carried out within the SUAT Research Institute. The research is conducted in 4 main research areas, which are artificial intelligence, urban and global studies, heritage studies, and environmental studies. And Research Institute in Sorbonne Abu Dhabi is strongly linked with Sorbonne University in Paris. Earlier this year, SUAT adopted its new strategic plan for 2024-2028. In her introduction, the Vice Chancellor of SUAT, Professor Nathalie Marshall-Brass, highlighted the importance of research and innovation. She said, "Our vision is of a university that fosters intellectual experience, cutting-edge multidisciplinary research and innovation, critical thinking, cultural harmony, and tolerance for the benefit of the society." And we believe that open science should be the part of this vision. Okay. Sorbonne University Abu Dhabi strategy is based on 5 pillars, which are research, education, visibility, excellence, and sustainability. First pillar is research. Sorbonne University at Abu Dhabi is committed to delivering flagship multidisciplinary research. And one of the objectives is promoting open science. Much has been said during this event about the assumption of open science. A great keynote today by Cameron Nylon, yesterday's presentations. And all of this brought us closer to the topic. But I would like to highlight the perspective of the United Nations, which says that access to the knowledge is a human right. Also, open science has the potential of making the scientific process more transparent, inclusive, and democratic. It is also recognized as a critical accelerator for the achievements of the United Nations SDGs. As you know, France's level of involvement in open science, national and international initiatives, is very known, and it's a model to follow. Sorbonne Paris is one of the signatories of the Barcelona Declaration on Research Information mentioned by Cameron and described by Cameron during his keynote. And Sorbonne Paris is one of the signatories of the latest Barcelona Declaration mentioned by Cameron. And the president of Sorbonne University, Professor Nathalie Drachtemam, highlighted that beyond its benefits for researchers and research institutions, this next step toward open research information is also a civic engagement for a more open, responsible, and trustworthy university. So, Sorbonne University Abu Dhabi strategy, with its pillars and objectives, wants to develop the open science policy. How will it be built? First of all, research leadership team will be designed to develop the strategy and the policy for Research Institute, all its institutes, centers, and laboratories. And all the researchers, faculty, and visiting professors will be involved in this process. Secondly, training programs and workshops will be developed on open science practices for faculty, researchers, and students. And we will also add open science to our research programs, to our educational programs, and to the methodology courses for students. The part of the open science strategy is also to create a university institutional repository for the storage and sharing of the scientific output of the university. The university is committed to addressing these issues fully and ethically, but also is equally dedicated to ensuring that open science practices do not compromise the quality of research. Our current repository, based on DSpace, provides access to metadata and partially to full text of publications of our staff, students, and visiting professors. We wanted to become more efficient. We wanted to be more complex. We want the university repository to be the tool for the faculty to present their scientific output, but also as a tool for the university to report the scientific output to chats and to rankings and all the other purposes. So that's why we want to create a complex project of the university repository based on the DSpace quiz. That is why we started a new repository project, and we decided it to be complex. So, for example, as an addition to the current repository, we want to add the workflow to deposit the scientific output, not only publications, but also scientific data, presentations, and other, for example, doctoral thesis and master thesis, to the workflow for employees and visiting professors. We want to also integrate the repository with HAL, which is the French open science platform, where the French scholars publish their scientific output. So that is how we want to avoid the professors to do the work with metadata twice. Want to have a tool to implement the metadata from HAL to our repository. Also, we want to create an ORCID import possibility to import the metadata for the publications, and also COAR notifications, which are very important for us to follow the scientific output of our scholars. Also, integrations with other services, internal services, as HR service, as chats reporting service, will be beneficial for the university and also for scholars. This is the model of our new workflow, which we created for this purpose. So we want to create the full implementation of the functionalities that will help us to help our scholars, but also the administrative staff to follow all the KPIs of our new strategy. So first of all, we would like to implement all the metadata and scientific publications full texts through import from HAL and other services, but also as the manual work of our librarians, because for now only librarians has access to the institutional repository, and according to the new project, all the faculty members will have the access to their own profile, so that they can add the publications, they can add data, metadata to their publications, and also they would be able to export and import the data from the repository. One of the most important parts of this project is to, as I mentioned, is to integrate the data that is published and openly and publish openly with the data that should be reported to the ministry. And also, as I mentioned, and I would like to refer to Mohammed's presentations yesterday, that unfortunately our CHETS data, our ministry assessment, is based on Scopus, and it's very difficult for us to have this open science policy, apparently, from having the let's say the strategy that implements all the responsibilities of the university and the implementation of the national policy for CHETS and for the ministry. So having this open science policy as a part of the institutional strategy for our institution, for our university, is very important, because it shows that we are not only based on the, let's say, measurements, but we also want to be responsible. We also want to follow the open science rules and initiatives that are sometimes separate from what is needed from our researchers. And the role of the library in this case is very important, because we are providing the trainings, we are providing the tools, we are also providing the assumptions of the policy, and we are guiding our researchers, our students through their difficult journey through the publication process, and we want to help them to choose the publications, the journals that are open and also will be beneficial for them according to the assessment. So this is the starting point for our strategy, because we just starting to implement all these projects. But I would like to highlight that having this open science policy as a part of the strategy is very important for the university, for the library, which is responsible for following this policy and for implementing this policy, and hopefully will be successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anna, for sharing your insights and your experiences from Sorbonne University. Next, we have Ms. Rani Anand presenting Building Bridges in Open Science Collaborative Ventures at Khalifa University. Please.
Good morning, all of you. First of all, thank you for giving such a wonderful opportunity to come here and present about our university, how we bridged the gap between the open science and our initiative from the library. So I'm Rani Anand. I'm the Electronic Resources and Information Literacy Instructor at Khalifa University. Khalifa University is one of the high-ranked university. According to the academic efficiency, it's a kind of top. This is 2023 statistics. Now we jumped, we are 4th in the Arab world, and in global ranking, we are between 200 to 250. And now the citation per faculty is more than 90. So actually we are coming up according to the openness. Then we do the interdisciplinary research and trying to solve the national problems on scientific research and policy, so that we have a significance in the UAE economic and political and scientific phase. So this is how the research impact of Khalifa University. We have almost like a 16,000 publications research in last 10 years. And more than 300,000 citations. The average field-weighted citation is 1.59. That shows that the Khalifa University is a high-profile research university. This is our subjects where we do the research and development and innovation. It's mostly science and technology, engineering, computer science, physics, mathematics. Now we have medicine. It's a new school of medicine. And so we have interdisciplinary medical research going on in our university. So the last 5 years or last decade, there's a move from the university to make it more open, the research data, the research labs, going to the pace with the global openness, open science move. We have the initiative in the university to make our research and development open and open research, open data. So the library, we took a part in the initiation of the university. And this years, we were also actively participating the open science momentum with the university. And what a library can contribute in the open science. It's mostly like open access agreements, like all other university libraries are doing the transformative open access agreements, prepayment agreements, then promoting awareness by the teaching and workshop seminars, then the compliances, collaboration with the research departments, research data management. So this is how a library can contribute to the parent research organization on how to inculcate the culture of openness. So we also, as a library, Khalifa University Library, we also took some initiative from our side. Our provost of libraries, Dr. Abdullah Al-Hafeti, who was here yesterday, then he brought some initiative, a strategic innovation initiative to improve or to connect the university open science policies with the library strategy. So these are the key elements. Widen the access to scholarly communication. We have a wide variety of electronic databases subscription and open access publishing, trainings and embedded teaching, mostly to the higher level of the students. We were focusing to the higher level of the students, like senior design and PhD level of students. Then we implemented a research repository plus research visibility software called Pure Information Systems. Then we started vigorously collecting with our departments, department chairs. We have meetings with the department chairs in a certain interval. Then recently, we are conducting week-long activities only focusing the scholarly communications. That is, we call that database engagement week. So these are the key initiatives from the library to bridge the open science with the pace of the university. When we talk about the scholarly communication, as a university from the Middle East who is engaging the research and development, there was a gap of the students, especially the students from the lower level and the senior design and PhD students. They were reluctant to connect the scholarly databases. They were still using the Google for the research purpose, so that we have a careful examination of our databases, that we have a top tier academic databases like Elsevier, Science Direct, Taylor and Francis, Wiley, IEEE, all the top tier journals. It's not the quantity, it's the quality of the databases. It's the quality. We focus on the quality of the databases, and still they had issues to find the resources and to narrow down the research, so that we conducted a number of information literacy sessions. Then we had an embedded teaching with the senior design classes, like a regular interval. Then PhD, scientific research method, is one of their course. So we had embedded classes from the librarians. Librarians go to the class and we teach them on to how search, patent, and standard databases. Then we talked about the open data, research data, then citation managers and the research impact. So this greatly helped the higher level students to connect with the scholarly world. And gradually we started inculcating them the importance of openness in the research. So generally the researchers and the PhD level students, they're reluctant to publish their paper in open access journals. There is a belief that the open access journals are slightly like dignity wise. So we were giving them constant education on the importance of getting citation, importance of making their research open to public, to the less privileged people, so that now we have a system to enhance their research and the institution's academic product. That is an institutional repository. We can substitute with our institutional repository. It was DBase before. Now we implemented Pure Repository. It was just a spark from a meeting with Enology that we decided to go on a trial with the Pure institutional repository system. And from that day, we started implementing it, and now it's successful. We have how many? 790 profiles of the faculty in the Pure, and 566 graduate students profile. Then, the Scopus is not showcase all the research, but this repository, we have 35,000 research output open. Then the students' thesis, and we have recently bought the equipment, so we have our lab equipments connected, and it's open. So there is a move. Yesterday I was talking to the professor, and he said that there is an open lab arrangement in UAE, so that this kind of a repository is making visible the research and the openness, open data. Who can you collaborate with, and certain universities. So this is a great initiative We call our repository Al-Khazna. Al-Khazna is the treasure. So it's a treasure of the university, and it is open, showing the university's research efficiency through a single platform. The most important effort or the move from us was a small start of an open access agreement. It started 5 years ago with 3 agreements. Then we grow now to around like 7 or 8 agreements with the open access. See, we have our own policy at university that how an author can publish their papers using the university research fund. It is like it should be in a gold open access journal, Q1 ranking, and which is above 15% in the top journal ranking. So the library signs agreements with the top tier journals, publishers to publish the papers in open access. So this is our short history of the open access agreements. We started in fall 2019. It was just a discussion and a vision. Then we launched the first open access agreement in 2020 with the 3 publishers, IEEE, ACS, and Wiley. It expanded in 2021 with the PLOS, and by then we had 104 publications through the agreements. In 2022, we had an agreement with the Taylor and Francis, plus we already signed an agreement with Frontiers. In 2023, we already had a 158 publication articles through open access agreement, and we were trying to sign a new agreement with Elsevier, and it was one of our major milestone of signing an agreement with Elsevier, and we did it started in 2024. The usage of all these open access agreement is like a massive. So what's the library roles? Library set up a guide on all these open access, because university this is all on a policy base. Like we have top tier, 15% top tier journals, Q1, gold open access. So we need to continuously educate the researchers and the faculty where they can publish their papers, so that we create a guide. So each page, like IEEE, it is going to show all the journals that they can publish a paper through this agreement. Elsevier is the same. So through the website, they get a lot of information about the publications, where to publish, how to get this fund used, etc. Plus, we give a lot of orientations, trainings to the faculty and the researchers on open access publishing. So what is the library's role in the open access publishing agreements? We go well with the university policy on open access publishing. At the same time, library is the administrator of the open access project for the university. The library support KU authors with training and information. Training is necessary because the users are a bit confused where to publish their paper, how to find Q1. Sometimes the journal go from 15% to below. Sometimes the journal, when they decide it was more than 15%, but after decision, it's go down. So there's a lot of confusions. We have a team to support only for open access, so that it's more clear now to the community. They are more happy now. Library maintains an OA website, as I showed you before. The library supports the KU administrators with regular reports and feedback from the authors. And we keep changing our rules, policies according to the requirement from the authors and the academic leadership committee. The library does not make judgment. This is more important. It's not libraries' role. It's from the university leadership that we administer the policies and procedures. So what is our model? There was a lot of discussion yesterday about the models of the open access. Transformative models are there. Prepayment models are there. These are the 2 major models that I'm familiar with. We are mostly go with the prepayment models, because as Dr. Nikesh said yesterday, transformative models are still have some, and it's not clear. For us, it's more like there is an aim for us. There is a clear-cut decision for us where to publish. So that for us, it's matching. The prepayment agreement is more matching. So because we know that the discounts, how many tokens we can use. Then the expiry, most of the publishers are liberal with us on the expiration. For example, Elsevier has a 2-year period to use the tokens. Taylor and Francis, it's an unlimited expiry of tokens. Wiley, it's the fund is for 2 years, we can use the fund. So there is no restriction that you have to use it for 1 year. And when the subscription expire, the fund, we lose the fund or we lose the token. So as of now, we are happy with the prepayment agreement. We sign, but the problem with the prepayment agreement, you need to put a lot of effort on it. Transformative agreement, it's very simple. It comes with a subscription. You don't have to pay more attention to the procurement part. But the prepayment agreement, it's time consuming. And signing an agreement, you need to careful and you need to read every points to negotiate for the discounts, the expiration of the token, etc. But we are happy with the model. As I described you about the e-resources access, it's not quantity, it's the quality of the agreement and how happy the users are, then how it projects our research profile, how it made the research open is more important. So right now, we have only like 7 agreements and some of them we suspended. So this is how we use this agreement for all these 5 years. We started in 2019. It's a progression from 55, it's 104, 140. And this year, it's not the full year, but we helped 245 open access article publication through these agreements. And if you see the statistics, still the IEEE is the top because ours is a technological university. It's going very fast. And second is the Elsevier. Elsevier, we filled the pot with $250. It's used in like a few months. And now again, we are feeding the pot. So we have some flexibility in this model to add funds or to add tokens so that we feel that it's success that how we supported in the open access publishing. And it's more than the tokens and the agreement. Now there's a culture in the university that openness culture is there. When you do a research, when you produce a research data, through this information sessions and the regular departmental meetings, the openness, it's more open, it's more willingness from the researchers and the faculty to publish their paper in the open access journals. So this is the last year's statistics. It's the complete 2020, 21, 22, 23. For us, always, it's IEEE is the top and the research publications. But I'm sure in 2024, there will be a tight competition with the Elsevier and the IEEE. So this is how it affected the entire university publication. The conventional publishing last 10 years, the improvement is only 25% from 664 to 863 or traditional closed access articles. But the open access article from 81, it is now 662. That is 17%. So that this is a positive influence to the open science, how the researchers take the openness principle. It's actually encouraging. With all this effort from the library to inculcate a culture of openness, to train on the scholarly research publications, how to access them, then the pure Al-Khazna, we always get a high reputation in the academic departments. And the last, the surveys, we always get like about 90%. And the last academic leadership meeting, we got a special remark from the provost that we are one of the best performing academic unit because of our initiative to promote and inculcate a open science culture in the university. So that's the journey. Thank you so much for attending and listening to the short presentation. And all the four of us, all the best to the journey of the open science, which in our generation, when I was a child, the science was locked. But now we can read a lot more than what I read when I was a child or a teenager. So that's the rhythm of the globe now. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Rani, for sharing your practical and inspiring experiences at Khalifa University. Thank you. Especially it was interesting to see the comment about the PhD's reluctancy to publish in open access journals. Be good to talk about that more. Great. So our third panelist is Ms. Sumaya Ansar, and she'll be talking about building human capacity in open science, overcoming challenges in higher education institutions, and she's from the University of Calgary, Qatar. Please.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Before I start, I would really like to make a comment about Rani's presentation. What a beautiful name for a repository is Khazana, meaning treasure of information, right? So that was really beautiful name to kind of like a name a open repository, open place for information. My name is Sumaya, and alongside this presentation was prepared with my wonderful colleague Lulu. We both works at the University of Calgary here in Qatar. This is a branch campus of University of Calgary, and we offer nursing program here in Qatar. And we are hoping to present some information about some insights on our attempt to build capacity, particularly human capacity in the context of open science, more specifically for open access and open educational resources, and some of the challenges we encountered and what strategies worked for us and what strategies could have been applied. With that, I'm not really getting into the definitions of it, but I would like to re-emphasize on some of the aspects we learned from today's and yesterday's keynote, more specifically about bridging the gap between science, society, and the scientist. So, and how we can do that by removing the barriers to information, removing the barriers through in a financial way or other means, promoting interdisciplinary collaboration and conversations, making sure that the research is visible, and it's more importantly, I would say it's accessible for all. So we took a step back and looked at the literature to see what exactly is other institution doing and what are the challenges they are encountering, which kind of like wasn't surprising. Just as Dr. Walid mentioned this morning, pretty much most of the things are the same and it's been going on for a while. Like most institutions highlighted that there are financial constraints, particularly with the aspect of high publishing, open access publishing fees, or the cost associated with creating open educational resources and publishing them. Other thing came up was like lack of awareness. Most of the researchers either not aware of the benefit of it or the possibility of open access publishing and what are the barriers associated with that. Other thing was same as Dr. Walid mentioned, there is a lack of institutional policies around, and with that lack of institutional policies, the researchers are reluctant to go ahead with those kind of open resources, open data, open education resources, etc. One of the things which came up quite a lot, which goes along with the same thing what we have discussed in yesterday's keynote speaking, is that the quality concern. With the rise of generative AI now, it's even more becoming increasingly challenging. However, even prior to that, with the presence of predatory journals, it has been going on for a while. Like the researchers are concerned about the credibility of publishing into some of those journals. At the same time, institutions are as well concerned about the credibility, which may impact them with publishing in some of these predatory journals. And technical barriers came up quite a lot in some of the institutions, which is operating in lower socioeconomic background or conflict areas. So what we did at UCQ is like 2016 and 17 is a time we really started making a conscious effort of pushing for information, open access, open education resources, open science, etc. More particularly, I would say we did initiatives to educate and raise awareness about open education resources and open access publishing. We participated in the Open Access Week, and with targeted events, we conducted workshops, discussions, and some of this drop-in desk and things like that in order to making sure that everybody know what is it about, because just to making sure that people are not really stopped by with the lack of information around that. And common challenges which we encountered all these years is that one of them came up quite a lot as quality concerns and predatory journals. People were reluctant to publish in predatory journal, open access journal with the fear of it could be a predatory journal or something like that. And they were concerned about their recognitions or, their tenureship, etc. Another thing was this is also happening because of the lack of awareness, I would say, like they were not really sure about how this is working, what are the benefits of it, what possibilities open access publishing could bring to them. So this lack of awareness actually leading to a lot of confusion surrounding the open access publishing, a lot of misunderstanding surrounding that. And there was a lot of concerns around copyright violation and funding options as well. So we all know that one size doesn't fit for all. So we kind of like try to make a tailored approach in order to raise awareness among our faculty members, researchers, by conducting information sessions, by bringing up in this information session, we try to communicate the benefits of and impact open access publications or open science can make on the research, as well as for the society as a whole. We try to share best practices from different organizations to see that this is what's happening in the other part of the world too. So this is not something you need to be scared of. And we try to do some promotional campaigns through posters, sharing pamphlets, brochures, and also we try to host a drop-in desk. The people can drop by and ask questions about open access funding, publishing process, copyright, or open education resources, etc. And one-on-one consultation is an ongoing thing. We all know that as librarian, we probably would be doing that on a daily basis. So during those times, we try to, when faculty members approach with a publishing related question, we try to promote the open access possibilities of that, try to direct them to the funding pages to see these are the things available for you. So why don't you go ahead and publish in this form? And we also developed some guides, which kind of like a frequently asked questions, which we had, open access publishing possibilities, and also funding opportunities through our main campus, QNL, etc. So when we looked at the literature, just to see like what we are doing, is that what the rest of the campuses are also doing, to see if you are missing out anything. Not surprisingly, most of things remains the same. However, we found some of the opportunities, like particularly, I would say, building a community of practice. And I found like in a lot of literature, this is something actually making a huge impact when it comes to open science, open access publishing, or open education resource, etc. Because the peer sharing of information can make a huge impact. Another thing was like, collaborating and partnering with other institutions. When we kind of like being a standalone thing, our faculty members or researchers wouldn't know what exactly happening in other part of the institutions as well. So it's really important to have that collaborations going on, so that way they know that this is happening there too, and this is not something new for them. Another thing came up quite a lot is incentives and recognition, particularly with the context of open educational resources. Incentive and recognitions can make a huge impact, and which obviously need a lot of funding, but implementing grants and awards was something came up quite a lot in the literature. And as I mentioned earlier, we all need to do a lot of training, education, and awareness. That's something came up a lot in the literature too. So with all these things, the years of journey, I would like to acknowledge all the librarians and information professionals who have been working in UCQ and who've been part of this journey. Some of the key lessons we learned is like a continuous support or ongoing awareness and education is key aspect to maintain that momentum. Misconception, which kind of like, goes from one person to another, and it can make a huge impact. So it's really important for us to address any of these misconceptions and technical issues or all kind of challenges as early as possible. And most importantly, leadership support is important too, because this can make a huge impact, especially when it comes to making policies or funding opportunities, incentive, grants, all these kind of things. We really need that support from the leadership level. And so learning with this one, we thought like we could make possibly a major impact too. So I would like to summarize this with, open science hold huge possibilities for transforming research, but we as an institution really need to prepare our human capacity or infrastructure as well. And addressing any challenge we may have, we need to tailor our strategies to individual needs or institutional needs accordingly. And fostering a culture of collaboration can make a huge impact. So I would like you all to take a step back and try to think about what challenges you face in your institution when you promote open science, open access, and open education resources, and possibly to think about, are the current strategies what you are adopting or what you're implementing in institution, are they actually, solving this particular issues? And because we all know that, as Dr. Walek this morning mentioned, every single institution has their own unique challenges, and same goes for any researchers too. So we really need to think to see are the solutions what we are implementing is resolving, or it's actually standing out for this particular challenges. And if not, we probably have to think about tailoring our approaches. With that, I'm done with my presentation. And these are some of the references I used in our literature review. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sumaye. Very inspiring. And it was very interesting to see how you matched all the things that you've done with the literature and cross-referenced. So it's always great to have that inspiration. Please, so we will open up the floor to a Q&A, both in person and online, if there are any questions. We would like to, there were a lot of practical examples given in this panel from real cases in each of the universities. So there's a lot of wisdom in this panel that can be shared. So a question? Yes, Nikesh?
I have a question to Rani. Thank you, Rani, for the excellent presentation. So do you have any special strategy for gold and hybrid open access journals? Or do you have any statistics, how much gold article and how many hybrid articles are there in what you supported?
See, through the library agreements, thank you, Nikesh, for the question. Through the library agreement, we support only publishing in gold open access journals, Q1, but there is a research fund for each and every department. There is a research fund. Anything apart from what we cannot cover through the library agreement, it's covered through the department. So that there is a lot of hybrid articles covered through outside from the library agreement, through the department funds. There is statistics. There is a clear-cut study about what's the percentage of article we publish through gold, hybrid, and green open access. But as of now, I don't have it with me. But there is a statistical study. If anyone is interested to know the university's bifurcation about these 3 modes of publication, we can share it later. As of now, I don't have it in my hand. Thank you, Nikesh.
Hello.
Yes. A question? Yes, please.
Thank you very much, Rani, for this really very informative presentation. I'm here. Okay, thank you. Actually, my question is how you make sure that a prepayment model is actually fit with your actual number of articles published with your researchers. I think it's not very easy to have an overview about even that you make the library make agreements with plenty of numbers of big publishers at the same time. So how could you manage that, and how you have the aspect before you have this agreement? Thank you.
That's a very, very truthful question. This is what we usually actually suffer. But through our experience, now we know that how many tokens IEEE would need for the full year, but still sometimes we fail. For example, when we funded Elsevier with $250,000, we thought this will survive for a year. And we were arguing with Knowledge that, okay, we need this 2 year. But, within 3 months, it's finished. The faculty and researcher was taking it like, they were mad to take this. And now we are again funding 250,000 so that there is flexibility. Even though it's a bit like you need a lot of calculation, logical thinking, then we need to analyze the trend of the publication, how many published in last 3 years in Science Direct or IEEE. Then we will calculate a little, like a 30% more. But at the same time, you need logic, you need fund, you need to reserve fund. Yes, it's a bit of a hard work. That's why in my presentation, I mentioned that this prepayment models are a bit like you need a lot of hard work and logics.
Thank you very much. The second part of my question, how you convince actually the researcher to publish in Q1 research? This is actually it's not easy and very challenging nowadays. So do you have for example, such a numbers for Q1 in each university, in each college department, or how you could actually manage that? Thank you very much.
So this comes from the academic leadership committee, according to the vision of the university, so that it's a policy. So because it's a policy, yes, there is disagreement. There was disagreements, but because it's a policy, and we support through the open access agreement only this Q1 and Gold open access, it's accepted. And the continuous training and question and answer sessions that our website, it helps because it's very difficult from the journals to find which one is the Q1. And because this rank keeps changing, sometimes when they decide to publish, for example, IEEE Access, that journal was Q1 for a long time. There was a lot of demand to publish in that journal, IEEE Access. But, sometimes it's fall to Q2 in a certain range of time. So that's confusing, and we have to convince them this is how the publishing world, and we cannot do anything. It's the decision from the SCImago index, Scopus index. So that it's a bit difficult, but now it's the mindset. The mindset of the researchers, they know that this is the role, this is the policy. Anything except from this agreement, they can approach their department. Then their department will make sure that university library agreements is not covering this for certain agreement and certain publishing journal. Then only they will support.
It shows that there's a lot of flexibility required from all the policymakers, the library, the researchers to make
Not
this happen.
only flexibility, there is a lot of understanding,
Understanding, as well.
the consistency.
Of course.
You cannot behave to one researcher in a way and another researcher in another way. So that we need to stick on policies.
Great. Another question?
Hello. So we had 3 different, really interesting case studies. And Sumaya raised the point that predatory journals and the credibility of those journals and researchers' situation when they find themselves doubting, should I publish here or there? I was wondering, in the 3 universities you're representing, can't we think of a policy that will try to protect the researcher and work as a liaison between the researcher and publishing houses? So,
Anyone would like to take the question?
It is a bit tricky. I would say it's very subjective too. What we do as a library is like when any researchers approach us with a journal asking like, is it a good place for me to publish? We obviously go into the journal to see what is coming from, who is behind this, what is their process of publication, etc., to see if it's a place we can actually recommend to. However, I would say if researchers go ahead and already published in some place, it's kind of like, it's a bit tricky in a way, like we can't really take in charge of someone's publication. At the same time, as an institution, we possibly can support them, because as long as it's not somewhere, the place where it's actually getting really challenging is that once they publish in those places, it's actually, they are losing those data from their hands, right? So I would say it's a challenging question in a way, but all we can do as an information specialist or information science people is to raise awareness, help them to see if it's a good place or not, and take it from there.
Just to add on another question, on the predatory publishing side, there's basically guidelines like think, check, submit against predatory publishing, which could help raise awareness within the university. There's think, check, attend, that will check for predatory conferences, scientific conferences, so they'll give you guidelines. And again, as part of that, I think raising awareness within the library to share webinars or best practices in that area. Did you want to add on this?
Yes, I wanted to
One more
add
point, and then
something.
the question. Yeah.
Sometimes researchers or authors, they don't want to be advised, because sometimes they say that they know where to publish because they used to publish in those journals. So we need to be very sensitive with this, because we are, I don't want to say that, but I will, that for them, we are only librarians, okay? They are researchers, they know what to publish, where to publish. So we have to be very sensitive and very wise how we support them, how we advise them, because otherwise they will not follow our guidelines, let's say. So if they need our guidelines, if they need our help, they should be ready. We should be ready to help them, but we cannot force them. For example, what Rani said, in our university, there's also the case that the researchers are encouraged to publish in QA journals, Q1 journals, because it is according to the ministry's guidelines. So we are trying to encourage them to publish in open access Q1 journals as well, to follow both the open science policy and the CHET's requirements. So, and most of our scholars at Sorbonne, they are humanists. So some of the professors, they come and they say that there is no journal in Q1 that I can publish in. So our role could be advising them, could be guiding them with the list of journals, with the list of publishers, or to follow their scientific output, further list of publications, and maybe advise them which journal is the most cited journal, so and still open access, for example. So I would be very sensitive with providing guidelines or trainings for researchers in this matter.
As I mentioned, a lot of practical wisdom in this panel. Mr. Wahid, you had a question.
Thank you. I just tried for a minute Al-Khazna, the Khalifa University repository, but it's not available for public, right?
It is available for public. It's through the university website. If you go to the library, can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah. So go to the library homepage. There is Al-Khazna. It's like a search engine. You can search it. It's faculty profile. It's available.
I tried, but it's not available.
Yeah, maybe
It's username, passport. Something.
because we have a new edition recently, so maybe they made it unpublished for a while because it's in the implementation stage. Still, it's in the implementation stage. We recently bought the equipments, so maybe it's off for some reason. I will check about it and I will.
Thank you.
Otherwise, it's public.
Thank you.
But a good point about the openness of the repositories. Any questions online? Yes, you've messaged me. Okay, great. Okay, so there's a question from Mira Al-Naimi to the panel. How do independent research institutions or think tanks face with regards to open science? Is it easier or harder to convince them to adopt open access values? Just talking about independent research institutes or think tanks, how to encourage them to adopt open access policies. The question is to the panel, no one specific. Anyone or anyone in the audience who has a...
Maybe I will start. So encouraging means showing benefits. So benefits in visibility, in citations, in recognition, and also in creation the international cooperation. So this is what we did with my previous teams and with the team at Sorbonne, that we are encouraging the researchers to see the benefits.
Great. Mira, I hope you got your answer to your question online. Great. Any other questions? One more question. Yes, please.
Thank you very much. Actually, my question is to the UAE panelists. We have seen some interesting national, not national, institutional initiatives that are promoting open access in the UAE. I can, for example, look at the success of the Khalifa University, UAEU, and Sorbonne, and they are all doing the right things by promoting at the level of the policy, advocacy, and also infrastructure. My question is, for the success of open access in general and open science, it's more of a global trend or phenomena. It's not like small islands, but there should be some cooperative approach to it. And what we have seen is there is a lack of policy in the UAE. I'm talking about the national policy. Do you think that we will eventually get to a stage where your institutional efforts will contribute to influencing the national policy? Yeah. So that is my question. I have one short one as well. During the most of the sessions, we have focused more on open access rather on open science. And another thing is that no one has nearly discussed the open access books. So I don't know what's the approach. I know that Sorbonne, for example, there is a lot of faculty book publications, etc. So you may want to elaborate on that.
So 2 questions, one about policy, influencing national policy, and second
Yes.
on OA books.
See, that's a great initiative from Knowledge to open such a forum. That's why we got an opportunity to discuss these with last year, as there was another conference in UAE, Abu Dhabi. So this is a platform, and just now, Anna and I was discussing that we need to collaborate more because we are from the same region. We don't have to travel to Qatar to talk about it and to collaborate more in UAE. So as you said, yes, so this is a good, we already have experimental models at Sorbonne, at UAE University, Khalifa University, Zaid University, so that we can collaborate. So it's a good platform, the open forum, that we are together, we can brainstorm and we can make it a policy. We can gradually it will happen. Gradually it will happen because in the beginning, even in my university, when we asked to publish in open access journals, it's asked, the first question was why. But now there is no why question. Now how to do that? how we can move forward? How can we make the science open? How can we lock the, break the lock?
Yeah, I think the university, Khalifa University last year hosted the event. So everyone from the president of the university to research, everyone was involved. And I think, you know, having events like this will eventually raise that awareness. We're hoping to have more policymakers involved and contributing. And I think that, you know, this is one of the means in order to get closer to that sort of national policy and bringing people together. And apart on OA books, is there any comments on that front?
We didn't start it yet, the project for OA books. But as I mentioned, the humanities is the main field at Sorbonne. So we will definitely look at this and work with our faculty to create kind of policy for this. And yes, it's one of the steps we want to take. And I would like to add that here in the region, we are unfortunately far behind Europe, for example. I come from Europe, I come from Poland, and I joined only this June, a few months ago. So for me, building this policy and these activities, open science activities, is like work from the scratch. But just a few minutes ago, Rana said that we were discussing here with her that we need to create some kind of collaboration in UAE. Maybe we should meet frequently with all the experts, all the players in UAE, because we are quite a small community and we can do a lot of things together. And we have a lot of case studies, a lot of examples from all around the world, from not only from Europe, but also from other countries. So we don't need to reinvent the wheel to be successful. And with common effort, with preparing something together, we can go to the ministry, we can go to the policymakers to do something for the UAE scientific community. So for sure, we need to do that. Hopefully we'll do that together.
Great. Great, thank you so much. You've been an amazing panel and sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you everyone for listening. Just a few announcements. I'll do that later. First of all, there will be a QR code from the Qatar National Library. Do I need to press next for the QR code to come for the survey? So that's a survey from QNL. So if you could please take some time to complete it. We're now going to break for lunch, a very well-deserved lunch. Upstairs on the bridge, the lunch will be in 2 locations, one where it was and another one behind the auditorium. When we come back during lunch, there's also the AGM meeting, which is by invitation only, and that's at 1:30. So for those who are attending that meeting, if you can please grab a quick bite, and the meeting will be in the Heritage Room. When we come back, there will be 2 panels. There will be panel M, moderated case studies from libraries, moderated by Dr. Rayad Al-Zubi, and that will be upstairs in the auditorium. And there will be panel N here, supporting the Arab world's journey to openness, moderated by Dr. Emily. Thank you very much. And here's the QR code for the survey. Thank you for listening and enjoy your lunch.